myself through results and position, and stay under mentorship in a huddle environment. Lean into the pruning process, and I alluded to John 15. Huddle comes into focus here, is our second priority. Stop pushing for huddle unnaturally and trust the process is one thing that I take away. Weekly huddle meeting, not twice a month, but every week. 7 people that are family that want to own it. And then seek meetings with friends. Stop trying to make friends into followers. And so that was a huge paradigm shift for me. In and out gatherings, really low key barbecue type, high invitation type stuff. And then finally to launch an MC out of meeting with friends. Stop being a door-to-door salesman, which, basically connecting with people naturally is what I'm trying to say there. Trust process of friend, follower, and family, and let that come. And identify several people ready to follow.
Awesome. Round of applause for you guys. Come on. Learning how to study the Bible, hearing God's voice and responding, preaching, it doesn't matter. Whatever skill or competency you're wanting to develop, both a character issue or a competency issue, you're going to have to make a journey around this square. You begin in unconscious incompetence. You don't know what you don't know. Then you come face to face with that incompetence, which is D2. That's what we call the pit of despair, the valley of the shadow of death. It's the place in the wilderness where the Israelites kept saying, maybe we should go back to Egypt. The temptation in D2 is either to quit the process, to settle for the wilderness, or to go back to Egypt. It's in D2 that if you don't have some of these clear words, that the enemy's going to eat your breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So here's the other good news, though. First of all, God wants to provide the kind of leadership you need in D2, which means He wants to constantly offer you vision, which is reminding you of what He's already told you, time, and grace. We call this L2 leadership, or the kind of leadership that God wants to provide for us through the Spirit, but also through other people. Right? So are you in a coaching huddle? Good. So just make sure that you're allowing your coach or maybe other mentors, district superintendents, whoever you got in your life to help you reconnect with God's vision, the time that He wants to give you to be in this process, and the grace. Here's the golden rule. You don't get to D3 unless you go through D2. So as hard as D2 is, D3 is just on the other side. But there is no shortcuts. There's no circumventing D2. Right. So I would just encourage you to remember that in the midst of discouragement. The other thing I was going to say is when it comes to, in any context, rural context, suburban, urban, whatever your context, I don't care, university campus, workplace, it doesn't matter. We've taught you guys to be on the constant lookout for people of peace. All right, this is worth writing down. This is the way Jesus operates, revealing the heart of the Father. You've got to be a person of peace if you want to find persons of peace.
That's a good word.
Yeah, so God always initiates with us. He created us. He sent His Son to be incarnate with us. He always takes the initiative to be He serves us. He shows us He likes us. He welcomes us. He embraces us where we are, not where we wish we were. All those things you've been hearing us talk about, super important. We got to be persons of peace before we can find persons of peace. And oftentimes we get people look around, especially church planners, going, I just can't find anybody. I'm like, well, who are you serving? If you're not serving anybody, which is what it means to be a person of peace, then it's going to be really difficult to expect anybody's going to reciprocate.
That's good.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So be a person of peace in order to find persons of peace. That's the main missional strategy that my wife and I use.